Hey everybody, we are back. The Hurricane HQ for our official 9:30 a.m. tropical update for August 17th, 2020. And our current news is we still have, two areas to watch. We have 2 areas to watch today, and these both have a medium chance of developing in the next 5 days. Around 50% chance. And today's comment of the day is no new comments. Again, we do not have any new comments. You guys have to comment, and you might get featured on our videos. Just make sure they're weather related. So our current Atlantic disturbances over the next 5 days are these 2. This one is Invest 97L, and this one is just Disturbance 1, I believe. Or Disturbance 2, I'm not sure. But this is officially an Invest, while this one will probably become Invest 98L by the time it gets around here into its area to develop. So we still have to watch these systems because who knows, they could develop quite soon, like Invest 97L here. It's actually already in its area of development, so possibly it could develop over the next few days. And I know Invest 97L is quite fast moving. It is around, I believe, 15 miles per hour. I'm not totally sure. We'll have to see what it currently is, although it was at 15 miles per hour at one point. So we'll have to see. Here's our current Atlantic Basin image for as of 8 a.m. And as you can see, we have our tropical waves over here. And one here, this is Invest 97L, and this is our Disturbance 2, I believe. And also over here in the Eastern Pacific, there's some areas to watch. Over here looks like post-tropical cyclone Kyle, which was a tropical storm at one point and was actually forecast to be a little bit longer lived, although it didn't really stay developed as long as it should have, and it will most likely begin to affect the Europe over the next few days, so we will have to watch what happens with Kyle. And here's our average forecast tracks for August, and as you can see, most of these tracks show it actually heading either up the East Coast, into the Gulf, or even right through Florida. So we'll definitely have to see where these invests go. Although I think they'll either head this way into the Gulf or up the East Coast. And that brings us right into the Hurricane HQ forecast, and that's kind of like what I show you here. It's most likely either going to head up the East Coast or through the Gulf. And this would like to let everyone know that Josephine is no longer a post-tropical cyclone. It has officially died off and has lost its tropical categorization. So Josephine is nothing to worry about now. Possibly some enhanced winds and rain, although nothing tropical storm or even tropical depression force in this area. And now we're going to head right over to our official NOAA forecast. And as you can see, here are 2 tropical waves. The first one, this is Disturbance 1, has a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours and a 50% in the next 5 days, which is medium. And over here, we have Disturbance 2, which is similar, 20% chance of formation in the next 48 hours and a 60% in the next 5 days. Now, this one actually has a higher chance of developing, 60%, and I guess the National Hurricane Center is still considering this medium chance, but once they see a little bit more of organization, they can bump it up to the high chance in the 60%. It really does depend. The 60% can vary from medium to high, and same with 40%. It really depends on the organization and what they expect from the system. So possibly we could see a high chance in the next 5 days, probably issued either today or early tomorrow. But again, we'll have to see. Also, would like to show everybody we have hurricane or tropical storm Genevieve, I believe, or yes, tropical storm Genevieve, and this is actually predicted to become a major hurricane by 1 p.m. Tuesday, and most likely going to weaken to a hurricane in around 1 a.m. Friday to anywhere on Friday, basically. So this is going to become major hurricane. It's Cat 3 plus. A lot of the models are showing at least Category 3, although some of them are even showing Category 4, although none of them I've seen shows Cat 5 yet. So we'll just have to watch and see what happens, although it is possible for a Category 5 hurricane, although impacts to land are kind of low, other than extremely high waves and storm surge, possibly in Baja California. So here's our arrival times of winds, and this is most likely, and we could probably get tropical storm force winds even around the Mexican East Coast and Baja California. So the possibility for these tropical storm force winds is kind of high. Although when we head over to hurricane force, probably less likely. Here's our tropical storm force again. And this is showing the probability for it, and it's really high, a 90 to 100% chance all the way up to here, although this couldn't change, so we have to watch this. Here's 50 knot wind speeds, and it's very high around here, although it kind of lowers because this is really uncertain over here. Same with hurricane. Hurricane force is kind of high. I would say even a medium chance in most of these areas, although higher here. We're most likely going to see hurricane force winds later into the week. Right now, it's not really giving off any hurricane force winds, so we don't expect that to really give off any hurricane force yet, although it's possible. And if you like to see the 3-day forecasts, as you can see, this just shows both models in one, and we do see those winds possibly getting all the way over here for tropical storm force winds. And here's our wind history for the system, and there's nothing really to see. It's mostly just tropical storm force wind history, so no, we haven't seen hurricane force yet at all, so this system is definitely something to watch, although impacts to land probably not as bad. So now let's jump right over to our windy forecast, and we're going to take a look at this system right now. It's still considered a tropical storm at 40 miles per hour, and I would say a max of 50 in this system, although it's most likely going to develop to a hurricane in the next few days. And if you see this wind increasing by 1 p.m. today, and let's just jump to Tuesday. By Tuesday, 9 a.m., you could see these winds up to 60 around, 61 miles per hour. And once we get over to 9 p.m. Tuesday or tomorrow, you can see those higher winds of 66 miles per hour. And wow, once we hit Wednesday around 6 a.m., wow, we could see these 73 mile per hour winds. And I would say this is officially hurricane force. Just about. And this is 100% something to watch. Because we are seeing winds of up to 73, 74 miles per hour, which is hurricane force around just about hurricane force. And wow, I think it's possible to see this thing get quite strong. Here, let's go to 7 p.m. And we're seeing these winds get a little bit more prevalent. Although we're seeing really close to Category 1 hurricane in this model. Here's the NAM, which doesn't really show anything for this area. Let's look at the GFS model. The GFS takes it on a slower route, but does have those stronger winds, around 79 miles per hour, and these things dramatically increase up to like 93. And this one is showing 109 miles per hour by Wednesday. And this is crazy in this area. This is the GFS model. And it's kind of crazy. Let's take a look at those wind gusts. And those gusts it way over 115 miles per hour. And that is definitely around Category 3. Around Category 3, I would say. So, something to watch. Here's our cloud cover. And it's like 100% cloud cover over here. In the eye, we could see like 99. So, most likely a lot of cloud cover with this storm. Waves is where you can really start to feel it, because we could see up to 50-foot waves in this system. And this is crazy. We actually took a look at this in our last video, and the wave amounts were crazy. And possibly some strong waves on Baja California. Let's take a look. We have over 21-foot waves hitting the coastline, and that's quite powerful, I would say. Usually, we don't really notice the waves on these really strong systems because of that storm surge. Although this is Wave Watch 3, it's really getting these 20-foot waves, even inland. So we can see those really strong waves hitting right in, and this could possibly have some major impacts. Especially near like seaside marinas and things like that. They could be extremely affected by these waves. And I guess if you live in Baja California, you better take your boat either out of the water or tie it up good, because these waves can definitely affect this area. The ECMWF-WAM, it does show some quite powerful waves hitting near the coast. Around 13 feet, and not as large, although still something to really hit the shore, and definitely can cause some impacts. Now, usually these wave amounts are quite low and only around a few feet, although this in the dead center can reach up to like 50 feet, depending on the model you look at. And 50-foot waves is really something that could disrupt the shipping lanes. And I might expect some shipping delays for Mexico. And what's interesting is, with these very strong storms and these very strong winds near the eye, you could actually see the waves in the water rotating in a circular motion. I'm not sure if that has any impacts or not, but it's something interesting. I guess the wind is really blowing the water in a circular motion, and you usually really see that in those stronger systems. Now let's look at our water temperatures, and for the Atlantic Ocean, these water temperatures are quite warm, especially up here, around here, we're 86, and this Gulf Stream is really feeling this warm water all the way up to even near the northeast area and mid-Atlantic area. So possibly not. I don't know. These are quite warm waters, and it's definitely conductive for development. I would say everywhere up to Long Island is conductive. These waters start to cool down as they get past like Maine area. You could see 61 degrees and kind of low, and once you head all the way up near Canada, 41 degrees, and anywhere in this blue is like very low, freezing temperature. So definitely something to watch, and these warmer waters is definitely something to feel these systems. That's actually what's fueling this storm around here, and that's why it's going to actually weaken as it heads into this cooler water. If this cooler water was more warm, it might become a Category 5 hurricane and possibly even affect California. And then we're going to take a look at our spaghetti models for that system. Usually I don't cover the Pacific that much, although this could possibly have some major impacts, so I think it's worth it to take a look at some models. Let's head to Tropical Tidbits. Whoops. So here is Tropical Tidbits forecast, and this is Hurricane Jejevine. I'm not totally sure if it is categorized as a hurricane yet. Although this is saying it is, I think it's still a tropical storm. And here's our intensity guidance for this system, and it shows it getting way into Category 4, some of these models, and most of them take into Cat 3 status. Although, most definitely, it's going to become a hurricane if it's not already. So, definitely something to watch. And a few of these models actually show it hitting California as a very weak either tropical storm or tropical depression. So, something to watch, definitely. Although, I wouldn't expect too many impacts in California. And here's our current infrared satellite image for the system. And yes. You could definitely see this area of circulation right here, and you could definitely see that, and it's starting to look a lot more organized, so it's definitely something to watch. And I want to take everyone back to the Atlantic Ocean real quick. Just to point out one more thing. This area... Alright, 1 second. So, these areas here, they don't look like they're that conducive for development. They look kind of interesting looking. They don't have a defined eye or anything like that, but all of these major hurricanes that you see all start out from something like this. And then they slowly work their way up to something a little bit more like this. And then they would develop into something more like this. And then they increase strength to something more like this. And that is basically how this works. So it doesn't take much for these things to develop. All they require is really warm waters, very low amounts of wind shear, moist air, and that's really all they need to develop. Although this season we've been seeing these hurricanes almost evolve, because they've been, despite all the odds, all of the I believe all of the shear, these things really did survive. For example, Isaias and Faye developed out of nowhere over there, and I believe we even had a system that affected Texas. That system also, it developed in such a small area, and I guess hurricanes are slowly starting to become a bit more, I wouldn't say powerful, but I guess they're slightly evolving to be a little bit different. So definitely something to watch, and I bet this hurricane season, which is still to come, is going to be quite historic, and I think I'm going to wrap the video up here. And you guys, I'll leave the link to our website in the description. We'll have all the latest maps and data on these systems in there. And please subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next update, which will most likely be later in the day. So, I guess thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.